The Sound of Music, released in 1965, remains one of the most beloved films in cinematic history. Its unforgettable music, stunning scenery, and heartwarming story capture the hearts of millions. But what happened to the iconic cast who brought the Von Trapp family to life? Now, 60 years later, we take a closer look at the careers and lives of the stars from Julie Andrews to Christopher Plummer, as well as the other cherished actors. From major career shifts to personal milestones, join us as we explore where the cast of The Sound of Music is today in 2025. Christopher Plummer was 36 when he was cast as Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music, portraying a disciplined naval officer who softens under Maria's influence. Though his performance was praised, Plummer often expressed disdain for the film, calling it dreadful and sentimental. This frustration with his career choice followed him throughout his life. Plummer's personal relationships were just as tumultuous. He was married 3 times, with 2 divorces marking significant chapters of his personal life. His relationship with his only daughter, Amanda, was strained due to his often absent role as a father, compounded by his battle with alcoholism in his younger years. Despite these struggles, Plummer's career rebounded in later years with stage and film roles, including an Oscar win for Beginners in 2012. Yet, his personal life remained marked by regret over his past mistakes, especially the time lost with his family. He passed away on February 5, 2021, at 91. Heather Menzies-Urich, who played the mischievous Louisa Von Trapp in The Sound of Music at 16, became beloved for her spirited portrayal of the third oldest Von Trapp child. After the film, Heather found it difficult to break free from the shadow of her iconic role. While she had a few minor roles in films like Piranha and Logan's Run, her career never reached the same heights. Heather married actor Robert Urich in 1975, and the couple had 3 children. However, their family life was deeply impacted by Robert's struggle with cancer, which ultimately led to his death in 2002. This loss devastated Heather, who later faced her own battle with brain cancer. She passed away on December 24, 2017, at the age of 68, leaving behind a complex legacy of joy, loss, and perseverance, with the weight of personal tragedy shaping her later years. Eleanor Parker, at 43, brought elegance and sophistication to her role as the Baroness in The Sound of Music. However, her career, which had soared in the 1950s with Oscar nominations and starring roles, began to decline in the years following the film's release. Parker's personal life was plagued with challenges. She married 4 times, with 3 of her marriages ending in divorce. Her third marriage to artist Paul Clemens, with whom she had 1 son, grew increasingly strained over time, especially as her career demands conflicted with family life. In her later years, Parker suffered from chronic health issues, particularly COPD, which led to her eventual decline. Despite being a celebrated actress, she lived much of her later years in relative obscurity. On December 9, 2013, Parker passed away at 91 from complications of pneumonia, her legacy marked not only by her acting talent but also by a life marred by personal hardship and illness. Richard Haydn, who portrayed Max Detweiler in The Sound of Music in 1965 at the age of 60, was known for his charming and witty portrayal of a manipulative family friend who sought personal gain through the Von Trapp family's musical talents. Haydn had a long career in film and television, but he struggled with typecasting, often being cast in similar roles. His career highlights included appearances in The Birds and The Importance of Being Earnest, but he found it difficult to secure roles that allowed for deeper artistic expression. Personally, Haydn never married, citing a lack of emotional readiness, but those close to him noted his loneliness and regret over never having a family. In his later years, Haydn faced significant health struggles, including heart disease and severe arthritis, which left him isolated in his home. He passed away on April 25, 1985, at the age of 80 from a heart attack, leaving behind a legacy overshadowed by his personal and professional struggles, dying alone and largely forgotten. Charmian Carr, who starred as Liesl Von Trapp in The Sound of Music at the age of 23, captured the hearts of audiences with her portrayal of the sweet and innocent eldest Von Trapp child. Despite the success of the film, Carr's acting career faltered after The Sound of Music, as she struggled to find roles that matched the fame and recognition of her iconic performance. She married Jay Brent and had 2 daughters, but her marriage ended in divorce, and she spoke openly about feeling unfulfilled both personally and professionally. In her later years, Carr faced a tragic battle with a rare form of dementia, which gradually took away her ability to remember her family and career. She passed away on September 17, 2016, at the age of 73, leaving a poignant legacy as an actress whose life was often overshadowed by the role that made her famous, and the personal struggles that remained largely unseen. Peggy Wood, who played the wise and compassionate Mother Abbess in The Sound of Music at 73, had a distinguished career in theater and film. However, despite her success, she often felt overshadowed by younger actresses and faced personal challenges, including a difficult marriage to writer John V. A. Weaver. Their relationship was troubled by infidelity, and after Weaver's death in 1938, Wood was left to raise their son alone, a responsibility that weighed heavily on her. She later battled depression, which compounded the struggles of her later years. Wood's health deteriorated after a series of strokes, and she withdrew from public life. She passed away on March 18, 1978, at the age of 86, from a cerebral hemorrhage, her death marked by little recognition for the sacrifices she made both in her career and personal life, leaving behind a bittersweet legacy. Anna Lee, who played Sister Margareta in The Sound of Music in 1965 at the age of 52, brought a quiet strength and warmth to her role as a supportive and compassionate nun. Lee's early career was filled with promise, having acted in British films before moving to Hollywood, where she earned recognition for her performances in several films. However, her personal life was marred by deep struggles. She married twice, first to director Robert Stevenson, with whom she had 2 children, and then to George Stafford. Both marriages ended in divorce. Lee's daughter Venetia tragically died in a car accident, and Anna herself suffered a life-altering accident in 1981, which left her paralyzed from the waist down. Despite her declining health and isolation in her later years, she continued to act sporadically, but her career and personal life had already taken a toll. Anna Lee passed away at the age of 91 on May 14, 2004, due to pneumonia. Ben Wright, who portrayed Herr Zeller, the Nazi official who poses a threat to the Von Trapp family in The Sound of Music, was 50 when he played the role in 1965. Wright had an extensive career in radio and film, with memorable performances in Disney classics and other films in the 1940s and 1950s. However, as the years passed, his career faltered, and his roles became less frequent. He married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, with his personal life plagued by strained relationships and financial struggles. His relationship with his children became distant, and he was left to face his later years in solitude. Ben Wright's health deteriorated, and following complications from surgery on July 2, 1989, he passed away at the age of 74. His later years were marked by regret, as he never managed to recapture the success and happiness he had once known, leaving him to reflect on a life full of unfulfilled dreams. Portia Nelson, who played Sister Berthe in The Sound of Music in 1965 at the age of 45, portrayed the stern, rule-bound nun who eventually accepted Maria's unconventional ways. Nelson was a talented singer, songwriter, and actress, but her career was often marked by unfulfilled potential. Though she achieved recognition in the music world, her acting career never reached the heights she desired, and she struggled to find lasting success. Portia never married and led a solitary life, often lamenting the emotional toll of her transient relationships. She was diagnosed with cancer, which she fought bravely, but it ultimately claimed her life at the age of 80 on March 6, 2001. In her final years, Portia faced both physical pain and the loneliness that had long marked her existence. Despite her successes, her life ended in sadness, as she was unable to find the peace or fulfillment she had long sought. Norma Varden, who played Frau Schmidt in The Sound of Music in 1965, was 67 at the time. Frau Schmidt is the efficient and no-nonsense housekeeper who keeps the Von Trapp household running smoothly. Despite being a seasoned actress, Norma's career did not bring the recognition she deserved, and she was often overshadowed by her co-stars. She never married, instead dedicating her life to her work, but this left her isolated and lonely. In her later years, Norma faced financial troubles and lived in poverty, especially after retiring from acting. In the 1980s, a stroke left her partially paralyzed and in need of constant care. She spent her final years alone in a nursing home, disconnected from the world and without a close support system. Norma passed away on January 19, 1989, at the age of 90, her life marked by solitude and the quiet struggles of an actress who never found the happiness or fame she had hoped for. Gilchrist Stewart, who portrayed Franz in The Sound of Music in 1965, was 46 years old when he filmed his role. Franz is the loyal butler to the Von Trapp family, initially appearing stern but later showing his true allegiance by aiding their escape from the Nazis. Although his performance was well regarded, Gilchrist's career never reached the heights of his Sound of Music role. Struggling to secure significant parts in other films, he faced a slow decline in Hollywood. His personal life was equally difficult. He married once, but the relationship ended in divorce after 5 years, and he fell into alcoholism. His struggles with addiction took a toll on both his career and health. By the mid-1970s, his health was severely compromised, and he withdrew from acting. Gilchrist passed away on June 8, 1977, at the age of 58, from complications related to liver cirrhosis. Gertrude Astor, who played one of the distinguished party guests in The Sound of Music in 1965 at the age of 78, brought an air of refinement to the film's portrayal of high society events. With a career that spanned over 50 years, Astor was frequently cast in roles that required her to play wealthy, elegant women, yet she was rarely offered roles that allowed her to fully showcase her talent. In her personal life, Astor faced a brief marriage in her youth that ended in divorce, and she never remarried, which led to a lonely existence as she grew older. In her later years, she suffered several strokes, which gradually affected her health and independence. Despite her long career, she faded into obscurity, and her death on November 9, 1977, at the age of 90 from a stroke, went largely unnoticed. The sadness of unfulfilled companionship and the lack of recognition for her work left her final years marked by solitude and diminishing health. Marni Nixon, who was 35 when she played Sister Sophia in The Sound of Music, was a talented singer whose voice became famous for being the ghost behind many famous actresses in musicals, including Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady and Natalie Wood in West Side Story. While she was widely admired for her vocal abilities, Nixon's personal life was fraught with challenges. Her first marriage to composer Ernest Gold ended in divorce after 13 years, due to his infidelity and her emotional isolation. Her second marriage also dissolved amid struggles with maintaining a balance between career and family life. Nixon's cancer battle in her later years took a toll on her, and though she had a devoted fan base, her efforts to be recognized for her own work were often overshadowed. She passed away from breast cancer on July 24, 2016, at 86, leaving behind a legacy of untold stories, a talented woman whose work was often hidden behind the success of others. Doris Lloyd, at 69, portrayed Baroness Eberfeld in The Sound of Music, embodying a character marked by sophistication and emotional distance. Though her acting career spanned more than 50 years, it was her personal life that proved to be more complicated. She married 3 times, but her third marriage to a younger man ended in tragedy when he passed away shortly after their wedding. Without children of her own, she spent her later years reflecting on the loneliness that came with growing older. Her career, while successful, failed to fulfill her emotional needs, and she often found herself struggling with the isolation that came with aging. Doris Lloyd passed away suddenly from a heart attack on May 21, 1968, at 71, leaving behind a legacy of professional achievement but a personal life that was overshadowed by loss and unfulfilled desires. Leon Alton, who was 58 when he appeared as a party guest in The Sound of Music, played a minor role in the grand scheme of the film's plot, but his personal life was filled with unfulfilled ambitions. Alton had been married once before, but his first marriage ended in a bitter divorce after years of financial struggles and emotional distance. He never remarried, instead devoting his time to his acting career, though he found little success beyond minor roles. As the years passed, Alton's health began to deteriorate, and his dreams of achieving greater fame never materialized. His later life was marked by heart problems and a growing sense of isolation. He passed away at 88 on August 25, 1995, having lived a life that, despite some career successes, was marked more by missed opportunities and personal regrets than by lasting fulfillment or recognition. Monty O'Grady played a party guest in The Sound of Music in 1965 at the age of 49. While his role was small, it played a key part in setting the elegant tone of the social scenes in the film, bringing a sense of sophistication to the upper-class events attended by the Von Trapp family. Despite his presence in a beloved classic, Monty's career never took off as he had hoped, and he struggled to find significant roles in Hollywood. His personal life was marked by hardship. His marriage to actress Loretta Harmon ended in divorce after years of mounting tension and financial difficulties. They had one son, Charles, but their relationship became strained, especially after Loretta's tragic death from cancer in 1976. Monty tried to raise his son alone, but their bond weakened, and they became estranged. Monty's later years were filled with loneliness and regret, and he passed away on March 8, 2000, at the age of 84. Steve Carruthers, who played another party guest in The Sound of Music at 65, contributed to the film's lively and festive social scenes. Despite his energetic presence in the film, Carruthers' career failed to take off, as he was often typecast in minor roles that never allowed him to demonstrate his full range. His personal life mirrored his professional struggles. He married twice, but both marriages ended in divorce, and he found little fulfillment in his relationships. Carruthers turned to alcohol to cope with the disappointments in his life, and his addiction soon took a toll on his health. His battle with alcoholism was long and painful, contributing to his early decline. He passed away on March 1, 1983, at the age of 82 from complications related to his addiction. His life, marked by unfulfilled promise, was tragically cut short, and his death was a reminder of the hidden struggles many face in the entertainment industry. Dorothy Jenkins, who played Sister Augusta in The Sound of Music at age 51, was an accomplished costume designer whose work in the film helped define its visual style. Despite her success, including an Academy Award for The Heiress, Dorothy's later years were filled with solitude and personal struggles. She never married or had children, which led to a sense of isolation as she grew older. Though she had a strong career, she faced personal heartache in her later years, as she grappled with the reality of aging alone. Dorothy's health deteriorated in her 70s, and she spent her final years largely out of the public eye. She passed away on November 21, 1995, at the age of 81, and her death went largely unnoticed, a stark contrast to the vibrant, accomplished life she had led in her younger years. Her story is one of creative success but also profound loneliness, and her passing marked the end of a life overshadowed by the quiet solitude that often comes with age. Leota Richards, who portrayed a party guest in The Sound of Music at the age of 58, brought a touch of grace to the film's high society scenes, helping to create the refined atmosphere of the parties. Though she had a promising start to her career in television and theater, she struggled to find major roles that could launch her into lasting fame. Her personal life was similarly marked by difficulty. Her first marriage ended in divorce, and her daughter faced significant challenges, which took an emotional toll on Leota. In her later years, Leota battled financial instability and isolation, as she found it hard to land significant acting roles. Her dreams of a fulfilling career and personal happiness remained largely unfulfilled. On February 7, 1998, she passed away at the age of 90, a woman whose life was shaped by personal loss, unachieved aspirations, and the bittersweet sting of what could have been. Norman Stevens, who portrayed a party guest in The Sound of Music in 1965, was 49 years old when he took on the role. His character helped bring charm and sophistication to the film's lively social scenes. Despite his brief appearance in the iconic movie, Norman's career failed to take off. He had some minor roles in other films, but never gained widespread recognition. His personal life was marked by turmoil, including a painful divorce from his first wife, followed by a second failed marriage due to his growing alcoholism and emotional distance. Norman had one daughter, but their relationship became strained, and they eventually became estranged. In his later years, Norman battled cancer in isolation, with few family members or friends around to support him. He passed away on July 15, 1980, at the age of 63, his death barely noticed by the public. Angela Cartwright portrayed Brigitta Von Trapp in The Sound of Music in 1965 at the age of 13. Brigitta was the witty, intellectual second-oldest Von Trapp child, often seen with a book in hand and known for her sharp, thoughtful remarks. Angela's career initially flourished with roles like Lost in Space, but as she grew older, she found it difficult to secure meaningful roles in Hollywood. She married Steve Gullion, and together they had 2 children, Jesse and Rebecca. However, their marriage ended in a painful divorce after years of emotional strain. Angela also experienced significant personal challenges, including the death of her younger brother, which deeply affected her. Financial instability and struggles with depression followed. In 2025, Angela, now 72, lives quietly in California, where she focuses on painting and occasionally reconnects with the Sound of Music fans. Despite her public appearances, she remains privately haunted by her early success and the losses she endured. Julie Andrews, at the age of 30, became internationally famous for her role as Maria in The Sound of Music, 1965. Her portrayal of the cheerful and kind governess who brings joy in music to the Von Trapp family became iconic. However, her personal life was fraught with difficulties. Her first marriage to set designer Tony Walton ended after 14 years, largely due to the pressures of their respective careers. She married director Blake Edwards in 1969, but their marriage, although lasting until his death in 2010, was complicated by his struggles with depression and alcoholism. Together, they had 2 children, but the blending of their families proved challenging. In 1997, a vocal cord surgery left Andrews unable to sing, a devastating blow for a woman whose voice had been her trademark. At 89, she is still adored by fans, but reports indicate that she struggles with feelings of isolation and loss as she reflects on a career that, despite its greatness, came with significant personal pain. Nicholas Hammond, who portrayed Friedrich Von Trapp, the responsible eldest son, in The Sound of Music at age 15, became known for his mature, protective nature on screen. After the film, Hammond's career included appearances in The Amazing Spider-Man TV series and other television roles, but he struggled to find consistent work and was often typecast. Nicholas never married, despite having long-term relationships, and he lived a solitary life, choosing not to have children. He faced difficulties in his career, often reflecting on the gap between his early fame and the more humble reality of his later life. A significant injury in his 50s left him with chronic pain, and his struggles with physical and emotional health were evident. Now 74 in 2025, Nicholas resides in Australia, living a quiet life away from the public eye, with few ties to his past fame, yet still occasionally attending the Sound of Music reunions. Dwayne Chase, who played Kurt Von Trapp, the energetic and playful middle child, at age 15, left the world of acting after his role in The Sound of Music. He chose to pursue a career in software engineering, but this shift came with a sense of loss, as he missed the excitement of his early career. Dwayne married Petra Maria, though they never had children, a decision he later expressed regret over. While his professional life brought stability, Dwayne's personal life faced financial challenges during periods of unemployment. His later years were marked by depression, and he struggled with the mental health toll of living a life far removed from Hollywood's glamorous spotlight. Now 74 in 2025, Dwayne lives a secluded life in Washington state, quietly reflecting on the contrast between his early fame and the solitude he now experiences, with a quiet sense of melancholy lingering over his personal story. Debbie Turner played Marta Von Trapp in The Sound of Music at the age of 9 in 1965, bringing to life the sweet, innocent second youngest Von Trapp child who dreamed of a pink parasol. After the film, Debbie stepped away from acting and led a more private life, marrying her high school sweetheart, Michael Deegan. The couple had 4 children, Sarah, Patrick, Michael Jr., and Grace, but their marriage eventually fell apart due to financial struggles and emotional disconnect, leading to a painful divorce. Debbie also fought a battle with breast cancer in her 40s, which further impacted her already fragile emotional health. She turned to floral design as a source of income, and by 2025, at the age of 68, she runs a small floral business in Minnesota. Though she still attends occasional reunions, Debbie has expressed feelings of isolation and struggles with the weight of her early fame, reflecting on the toll it took on her personal and professional life. Daniel Truitt played Rolf in The Sound of Music in 1965 at the age of 22. Rolf is a charming and ambitious telegram boy who falls for Liesel, but ultimately betrays her and the Von Trapp family by aligning himself with the Nazi regime. This role marked the pinnacle of his acting career, but after The Sound of Music, Daniel struggled to find other significant roles. His career never took off as expected, and he turned to teaching music and drama to support himself. Daniel's personal life was filled with heartbreak. He married 3 times, but all his marriages ended in divorce, and he had strained relationships with his 3 sons. In his later years, a car accident left him in chronic pain, further isolating him from his family and career. Now 81 years old in 2025, Daniel lives in a nursing home in California, suffering from Parkinson's disease and reflecting on a life that was both promising and filled with missed opportunities. Kim Carruth played the youngest Von Trapp child, Gretel, in The Sound of Music at just 7 years old. Gretel's sweetness and innocence made her one of the film's most beloved characters. After The Sound of Music, Kim struggled to transition to adult roles, eventually leaving Hollywood to study art and literature in Paris. In her personal life, she married French entrepreneur Philippe Gouin, and they had 1 son, Eric, but the marriage was plagued by Philippe's infidelity and ultimately ended in divorce. Kim faced severe financial hardship as a single mother and also battled significant health issues, including a stroke in her 50s that left her partially paralyzed for several months. In 2025, at 66 years old, Kim lives in New York City, where she leads a private life, occasionally attending fan events. Though she is grateful for her past, Kim continues to grapple with feelings of loneliness and the haunting memory of her childhood fame. Who is your favorite character from The Sound of Music? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much.